One, two, 1, 2. My name is Darius Mitchell, the hip hop Republican. And what up, everybody? Good evening, Tuesday. And hope everybody had a good day. And we came to talk some politics. And I'm going to give a chance for my audience, everybody in the audience to get on, everybody in Europe, get on, everybody in the South Pacific, Philippines, Taiwan, China, Brazil, Argentina, Guatemala. I know y'all out there on Facebook. That's why Zuck and Cheryl got billions and all the rest of them. And I'm Darius, the hip hop Republican. And we're jumping on to talk about the Massachusetts governor race in 2022. Everybody get on. All the Florida audience, all the Georgia audience, all the Ohio audience, Cali, Delaware, Canada, the Caribbeans, India, Cuba, y'all out there in Havana. And we gonna talk about some Massachusetts, the Massachusetts governor race. And Massachusetts needs a political shakeup. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You know, usually we need some fresh blood. We need some new energy, regular people, poor people in the political arena. A lot of times in Massachusetts, these guys don't even have opponents. They're running unopposed. That ain't democracy. That's not voting rights. That's a scam. When your guy ain't got no opponent, that's what they call a scam. Where I come from. And there's this big scam going on in Massachusetts politics where people just sign papers and send them to the State House and they cancel elections with these things called home rule petitions. The law says if a mayor, Boston mayor, Lawrence mayor retires, you have a special election. The law doesn't say you send it to the State House and you cancel the election. The law says you have the election and you let the people decide. So we're like 61, 62, 63 days into 2021 in Massachusetts, this liberal state for voters' rights. And so the governor, I don't even want to say his name. I just don't. I'm just so tired of him. It'll be 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. Tired of him, the most popular governor. Oh, he's so popular. He's a Democrat. But Lawrence, the Lawrence mayor retires. No, he don't retire. He gets a job. The governor gives him a job. So when the Lawrence Massachusetts, the biggest Dominican population in Massachusetts. When the Lawrence mayor retires or gets a new job, you're supposed to have a special election. So what they do, they send it to the state, a home rule petition to the state house to cancel the special election. That's no good, because what they're saying is they're not going to give the people a chance to gain any momentum, to do anything out of the ordinary, to choose their next leader. The people in politics are going to choose the next leader of Lawrence for the time being. Same with Boston. And since, this governor has been in there, who is a Republican, who's like a Democrat, everybody says, a lot of times Republicans don't have candidates on the ballot. They don't have candidates on the ballot in Suffolk County, which is Boston. They don't have candidates on the ballot in Brockton. They don't have candidates in Lynn, Lowell, Worcester, Springfield, New Bedford, Fall River, the urban cities, where the poor people, the working class people are. And we need a change. We need a new political race with some diversity in it, people with color on their skin, average people. The most neglected places in Massachusetts are the urban cities, the gateway cities, the Lowells, the Lawrences, the Lynns, the Haverhills, the Fitchburgs, the Fall Rivers, New Bedford, Springfield, Worcester. And we just need something different here. Like, they walk around, they're liberals, I'm Democrat, oh, Trump's so bad. I'm like, get out of here. Jive talk. And a Republican, Democrat, we need a governor who knows how important public transportation is. Someone who's used transportation. Like right now, on the weekends, there's no Lowell weekend train service. Lowell's like the 4th biggest city in Mass, 5th biggest city, on the border of New Hampshire. And a lot of people, the Merrimack Valley part of Massachusetts and New Hampshire, work in Boston or the greater Boston area. So if they don't have a train on the weekend, how do they get to where they work at? How do they get to the hospitals, the mini hospitals? How do students get, or even university employees get to universities? And so I want to run for governor. I'm going to run for governor of Massachusetts. The last statewide race in 2018, the U.S. Senate race, I got injured on the job, so I didn't get a chance to really travel the state. I did travel the state, but I didn't get a chance to finish. And I think we need a governor with some diversity. I think we need in Massachusetts, we need a candidate that, a minority, that isn't a Democrat. So everybody in Massachusetts will stop thinking that all black people or all minorities are Democrats, because we're not at all. Especially this one. I'm Republican. Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, John Brown, Harriet Tubman, William Seward. And so, and we need to talk about some real issues. Homelessness. You know, we look at in society today, we look at, you know, the homeless is bad or the homeless is poor home, but some of the best value in the country has always been found in the homeless population. President Lincoln was homeless. He came to Joshua Speed's house, to his convenience store, what a general store. And that story, but Lincoln was homeless. Frederick Douglass was homeless. Tyler Perry was homeless. Jim Carrey was homeless. John Paul Mitchell was homeless. Who else? So we need to have an election where the little guy is represented. Politics is so fake these days. Everybody can reason everything away with this side, that side, this side, that side, both sides. It's corny. Corny. Massachusetts governor. Massachusetts needs a strong governor. Not just somebody from the suburbs. They need a governor that is comfortable, and we in Massachusetts need a governor that is comfortable and respects the people of Lynn. Massachusetts needs a governor that values the people of Lowell. Massachusetts needs a governor that values the people of Roxbury, that values the people of Lawrence, that respects them, respects the people of Lawrence, respects the people of Dorchester. That's what type of governor Massachusetts needs. Massachusetts needs a governor not connected to the State House, not connected to Charlie Baker, not connected to Donald Trump. It's 2021. We need a governor who's going to make sure his party has candidates on the ballot on election day. So the people of Commonwealth can have choice on election day, have choice in Lynn, have choice in New Bedford, have choice in Fall River, have choice in Worcester, have choice in Lowell, have choice in Lawrence, have choice in Springfield, have choice on election day in Holyoke. We don't have that now. We don't have that governor. Every year this governor's in there, 100 or more Democrats in the State House run unopposed while he spends millions and millions on his campaign. Boston hasn't had a Republican congressional candidate in at least 4 years. And it's now, it can't go on that way. Not during a pandemic and so much on the line. Massachusetts needs a strong governor, and New England needs a strong governor. Massachusetts is the big brother of New England, As Massachusetts goes, all of New England goes. And Massachusetts needs another voice in the conversation. Someone from the inner city, somebody from a gateway city to speak for the little guy. Who's speaking for the little guy? What's funny about Massachusetts in the system is that the system thinks they can push around a little guy because they know the little guy doesn't have money to go get lawyers, and little guy has to go to work, and little guy doesn't have time to fight for his rights. That's why we need a governor. First, we need a governor's candidate that can fight for the little guy's rights. And I'm not talking about as no Democrat. We need a diverse Republican candidate. All you hear is about Trump Republicans. Everybody is not a Trump Republican. I'm a Lincoln guy. And I show y'all this every night. I'm Lincoln. This is my guy right here. You want to see? Can you see it? That's Lincoln. Actually, what's today? March 2nd? It's March 2nd, 1860. He's running through New Hampshire. March 5th, he's in Hartford. And then a year, 364 days later, not even a year, March 4th, 1861, which is coming up in 36 hours, President Lincoln is sworn in as the 16th president. Is that crazy? Remarkable? And I know I always talk about Lincoln, but it's important to talk about Lincoln and not just he freed the slaves, but his journey to get in that position. As Illinois and Massachusetts has removed the Lincoln statue, which if I was governor is coming back. Illinois is talking about removing Lincoln statues. It's like these people are they're loony birds. And the country needs a new voice, an average voice that doesn't depend on money. We need somebody who can inspire our communities, inspire our fellow man, instead of just always saying it's that side's fault, or it's that side's fault, or it's both sides. I'm no side. No, choose a side, because it's too much of an important time. So I have a story I wanted to tell you guys tonight. As I tell you, I'm going to run for governor of Massachusetts. I want to compete in 352 towns and cities in Massachusetts for the Republican nomination for governor in 2022. Darius Mitchell. So I have a friend, and his name is Dave. And he's going through this thing with his 11-year-old son with a Middlesex probate and family court. And I have some experience there with my, he's 15 now. And I've had problems seeing him. I had my visits revoked for marijuana. But now I'm here to tell you about my friend Dave. He has an 11-year-old son, and they love each other. And somehow the son's mother lets Dave's sister see the kid, but she doesn't let Dave see the son. 11 years old, I believe he is. So Dave and his sister are beefing over the mother's house. So the sister doesn't let Dave see his son, but she lets him talk to him on the phone. So, and I get these stories all the time about Middlesex probate and family court, and I understand it oh too well. There are some disrespectful people over there, and they look at you, and if you ain't got your lawyer and you ain't got your paper right, they'll run you to death. Just being evil to people. So Dave has his 11-year-old son, and sometimes Dave tells me stories about when he talks to his son on the phone, and he told me this story that his son is trying to figure it out. He loves his dad. He wants to see his dad, and he can talk to him on the phone, but he can't see him. And Dave is going to Middlesex probate court, doing Zooms, I gave up on Middlesex probate and family court. This is not a place for a black man, and I just gave up on him, and I'm not paying for no lawyer. Not yet. And I gave up on him. But so I could imagine what Dave's going through. They've moved to Woburn. I guess they're not in Cambridge anymore. They moved to Woburn, and they have an office in Lowell. And so he's just an average guy, a maintenance man at an apartment complex. And he's fighting for his life. He's fighting for his son's life. And these people in Middlesex County, my county, Middlesex County probate family are just running him. When he files his paper, they don't give him a court date till 2-3 months later. He had a Zoom date last month, and he was there for the Zoom date. And one part of Middlesex probate and district court told him that the Zoom was canceled. And then the other part said that they had the Zoom and he didn't show up, so they canceled the hearing. So he's just a little guy, a maintenance guy, in love with his son, and his son in love with him. And this court is just running him ragged. So like I was saying, his son was telling me a story about his son. He talked to his son, and his son, Dave's son, I think he's 11 or 8 or 11. And his son goes to him. He goes, "Dad, I'm tired of talking to you on the phone. When can I see you face to face?" Is that crazy? His son is on the phone with his dad. His dad didn't do anything. The mother is playing games, and she's buying time because it's COVID and the Zoom and all the different problems. So the son goes to Dave, my friend. He's just an average guy, a maintenance guy, hard-working guy. And his son goes, "Dad, when can I see you face to face?" He said, "Dad, sometimes, Dad, I just go in a room and cry." After I get off the phone. And that's Massachusetts. And I'm like, I tell Dave, I'm gonna do a Facebook Live about your story, because on my Facebook, I have employees of state senators. I have employees of Congress, of the Congresswoman. I have multi-Lowell city councilors. I got Republican state house members, state reps. And I don't care. It's America, and we're all Americans. And that little boy should not be running to his room crying because he can't see his dad. Because his dad is a good guy. And his dad works hard. And it's Massachusetts. The little guy always get kicked around. Always. Nobody ever speaks up. Everybody just sits there. They want to make sure they keep their bag. The bag. But when do you fight for your neighbor? When do you fight for your community? Why is there a kid saying have to go in his room and cry? And his dad, hardworking guy, who does he turn to? Does Dave turn to Governor Baker? Do you think Governor Baker cares about Dave and his son? Does he turn to Lori Trahan, the congresswoman, who Republicans didn't even give an opponent in November? Like, what age do we live in when Congress people don't have opponents on a presidential day election year? So does Dave turn to Lori Trahan? Does Dave turn to State Senator Ed Kennedy? Does he care about the people of Lowell, his constituents? That little boy who goes in his room and just cries because he can't see his dad? It's a lot of that going on in the Merrimack Valley too. It's been a couple of people coming up to me and it's like, Darius, you gotta speak up. We gotta speak up. We gotta speak up for the little guy. Massachusetts. You just had a president who never even visited you. You have the governor just got rid of the Lawrence special election, the Boston special election. If they don't want special election law on the books, the State House, the Massachusetts State House Democrat supermajority should overturn the special election law, so nobody won't have to come to them with home rule petitions. Let the voters pick their mayors. Let the voters of Lawrence pick their mayor. Let the voters of Boston pick their mayor. Let the voters of Boston have a choice of Congress people on election day. Let Lowell have a choice of Congress people on Lowell Day, because we are the little guy and we are citizens and we deserve representation. It's not democracy when your congresswoman is unopposed on election day, presidential year. It's not. You can try to sell it, ship it. You guys in the media in Boston, I got some of them on here too, and some of their friends. It's not democracy. It's not voting right. It's not civil right. It's garbage. And so we need some new leaders in Massachusetts, some average people, some Lowell people, some Lynn people, Worcester, Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury. Who's gonna fight for the little guy? Is Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Pelotu? Is Lori Trahan? Is Elizabeth Warren? Is Ed Markey? Who's gonna Alana Presley? She represents parts of Middlesex County. What do you stand for? And who's gonna stand up for the little guy? Serious question. Who's gonna stand up for the little guy in America's time of need? Who's gonna speak up for that little boy who goes in his room and cries because he can't see his dad face to face? Who's Lincoln had a saying, what was it? What's right? Let's let what's right have might. What's right have might. Right. God. We, us little people, us Christians, we got to look out for the little guy like Dave and his son. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. He has looked out for me. I see a lot of people on Facebook who are Christians. And we got to stand up for the little guy against the Goliaths of the world, of the Massachusetts, who think they can just jive us to death. And my name is Darius Mitchell. I'm the Hip Hop Republican. And that Massachusetts governor's race, 350 towns, Massachusetts, rail between Lowell and Manchester. When is that coming back? That's what I'm for. Rail, Lowell Natural Rail. Not on Christmas, 24/7. Hip Hop Republican, Darius Mitchell. God bless America. In God we trust. From sea to shining sea.